I waited long enough. The Christmas decorations are up. What is up, football fans? Week 12 going into the season, week 11, just like week 10, absolutely nuts. Teams that we thought should have won lost, and vice versa. It was just absolutely crazy. But before we jump into the video, jump into the picks, all that good stuff, gotta shout out today's sponsor and what the picks videos and my live streams are presented by, and that is mybookie.ag, a fantastic betting site. You can do all your betting there, from NFL, MLB, fighting, boxing, all that good stuff. Go over mybookie.ag, and if you use the promo code DouglieDoWrong, DouglieDoWrong, all caps, you get double your first deposit. So go over, check out mybookie.ag, and bet responsibly. But let's jump into this video. Like I said, last week, kind of a replay of week 10 where teams lost that no one really thought would lose. Looking at the Pick'em leagues, Fits Up Switzerland is still in first place. Master at Works and Denzo 239 Fins Up are tied for second, 109.55. JD Picks and ESPN Long Number are tied for fourth, 107.57. So far, Fins Up Switzerland, you have the lead by one game. Keep it up, because we all know that Master at Works wants to win oh so very bad. When it comes to me and my father, I went 10-5 last week. I did pretty decent. Again, there were some games that if the team that should have won, I'd probably might have gone undefeated last week, but my dad did horribly. He went 6-9, so I'm sitting at 150 and to 60. 150. We didn't even play 100. 105 to 60. Sorry, my dyslexia. My dad is at 92-7. Let's see if he can bounce back this week. And we're going to start with today's games. No, tomorrow's games, because this is coming out Wednesday, because we have a bunch of Thanksgiving games tomorrow, and I am making a special Thanksgiving video for you guys for Thanksgiving. So tomorrow's games, we get 3 games tomorrow. It used to just be 2. Now we get 3. And we're going to start with the Chicago Bears taking on the Detroit Lions. 2 old school football teams taking on Lions sitting there 0-9-1. Had a chance last week to upset the Cleveland Browns, lost 13-10. And then we have the Chicago Bears, who had a chance to upset the Ravens without Lamar Jackson. I'm going with the Bears in this one. I'm hearing that Justin Fields is a little banged up. I don't know if he's playing or not, but I still like probably put Nick Foles in, which you don't really lose too much talent at the quarterback's position in that aspect, and the Lions are just struggling. I'm going with the Bears. My dad's going with Detroit. I don't know if it's the Thanksgivingness of it and the tradition of playing in Detroit, but my dad's going with Detroit. And with the spread, with the Bears giving Detroit 3, and again, I get my spread at mybookie.ag, I'm still going with Chicago, because I think they're going to win by more than 3. Then we have the other tradition of the Cowboys hosting the Las Vegas Raiders. Very hard for me not to say Oakland there. Las Vegas losing last week to the Bengals. They lost to Kansas City the week before, 32-13. I'm going with the Cowboys. My father is also going with the Cowboys, even though the Cowboys 19-9. That Kansas City Chiefs defense was just completely owning those Cowboys. I'm still going with the Cowboys. My father is also still going with the Cowboys. And with the spread of the Raiders getting 7, I might take the Raiders when it comes to the spread. Maybe I'll throw that bet out there for Thanksgiving. I don't know. But just straight up, I'm going with the Cowboys. Then we have the Buffalo Bills. I'm not going to laugh about this one, because the Colts aren't a bad football team. We thought they were at the beginning of the year, and I'll get to them when we talk about them, but they're not that bad, right? Taylor, again, I'm getting ahead of myself, because I will talk about the Colts in about a second. But Buffalo, 41-15, shellacking by those Colts, sitting there at 6-4 now, second in the AFC East. The Patriots now taking back their mantle, taking on those Saints, sitting there at 5-5. The Saints couldn't get the job done against the Eagles, 40-29. I'm going with the Bills. I think the Bills will bounce back. I don't think the Saints offense is good enough, and I think the Bills offense is better than the Saints defense, and that's what it's going to come down to. So I'm going with Buffalo. My father's also going with Buffalo. And Buffalo's giving the Saints 5.5, so I'd still go with Buffalo. I think they'll win by more than 7. Then we have Tampa Bay finally coming off a game. They were on a 2-game losing streak, came back Monday night, beat up on the Giants, taking on the Colts. Are hot. Won 6 of their last 8 games. Taylor with 5 rushing touchdowns, over 130 yards, if my memory is correct. Colts are hot, and they're home. And I didn't even know this. Not True Life. Hard Knocks is following them throughout the season. So maybe that, how Hard Knocks is kind of a jinx for the when they cover them in the preseason. Maybe Hard Knocks is not the jinx during the season. We'll see about that. But I'm going with Tampa only because Tampa's defense. And I think Tampa's defense will be able to shut down Taylor, force Carson Wentz to throw more. And I think they'll get into their head. So I'm going with Tampa in that aspect. But this is going to be a good game. I think this is going to be a close game. My dad is going with the Colts. I see that. And the Colts are getting only 3. So I could see the Colts winning by 3. Or I could see the Bucks winning by 3. So it's like, to me, I think it'd be a push. Regardless, I'm still going to stick with the Bucks and that. Then we have the Jets. Well, so those Miami Dolphins last week. I was at the game. It was fun. Taking on the Houston Texans, who beat the Tennessee Titans. Tennessee, what's going on? You're right. You're still sitting there at 8-3. You're doing all right, but you're right, Tennessee. There's a little bit of a hiccup. What's going on there? I'm going with the Jets in this one. I think the Jets are just a little bit better, but we'll see. We'll see which quarterback starts. My dad is also going with my dad's going with Houston. I guess, he likes the home team. For him, if it's a close game, he always goes with the home team. And the Jets are getting 2.5. So the home team is still getting that advantage, giving the Jets 2.5. I'm still going with the Jets in that one. Then we have the Philadelphia Eagles coming off hot. Like I said, 40-29 beating of the New Orleans Saints. Just Jalen Hurts doing his thing, taking on them Giants, struggling. Just fired their offensive coordinator and Jason Garrett. I'm going with the Eagles. My father's also going with the Eagles, and the Eagles are giving 3.5. I'm still going with the Eagles. I think they'll win by more than 3.5. Just Eagles are a hot hand right now, and I'm going with them. Then we have the Tennessee Titans, who I was just talking about, losing to the Houston Texans, taking on another team that is hot right now, and that Patriots. Now, that's a well-rounded team, the Patriots. Their defense is a top defense. Their offense is doing pretty well. A lot of people are praising Mac Jones. It's going to come down to who can stop who on offense. But with Tennessee not having Derrick Henry and relying on Adrian Peterson, and we saw what happened with the Houston Texans, I'm going with the Patriots. My father's going with the Patriots. And the Patriots are home. They're giving 6.5 to Tennessee. I probably would go with Tennessee in the spread. I don't think it's going to be a blowout. Mac Jones is a very reliable quarterback. He's not like Justin Herbert. He's not like, any of these quarterbacks that are just going to light you up, throwing it down the field. He's a very methodical, accurate passer. So I don't see, they barely beat not barely, 25-0. They blew them out. But they beat the Falcons. He threw 1 touchdown, 1 interception. Didn't, do anything crazy against the Falcons, which are a pretty bad team. So again, I think Tennessee is better than they played against the Titans. So, I'll go with Tennessee with the spread at 6.5. I can see this being like a 4-point win for the Patriots. Then we have the Steelers, who Ben Roethlisberger's probably going to retire. Taking on the Bengals, beat up on the Raiders. But the Steelers, jeez Louise, made Justin Herbert that wide open blown coverage to Williams just for the touchdown. And he just had guys open left and right. What happened to that Steelers defense? I'm going with Cincinnati. My father's also going with Cincinnati in this one. Cincinnati's giving 4.5. It's a divisional game, so anything could happen, but I'd probably still go with Cincinnati even going against the spread. And we have the Atlanta Falcons, like I said, losing to the Patriots, taking on the Jaguars, who lost to the 49ers. This is I'm going with the Falcons only because they have the better record, and Matt Ryan. That's all. That's like, and Kyle Pitts. That's about it. Other than that, these both teams are not great. And my dad's going with the Jaguars. I guess he just thinks that they're the better team and they're the home team. Jaguars are getting one, so it still don't matter. I'm gonna go with the Falcons on that one. Then we have another divisional game, the Chargers again. They got back off their skid of losing 6-4, taking on those Denver Broncos, who I think they had a bye last week. Let me double check. Yep, Broncos had a bye last week. I'm going with the Chargers. Chargers just the better team. My dad's going with Denver. I'm assuming he's thinking it's the home team. They're going to do better. Denver is getting 2.5. And again, if you're wondering where the flip am I getting these spread numbers from, mybookie.ag sponsoring this video, but I'm going with the Chargers regardless of the spread. Rams taking on them Packers. Now, the Rams were on a bye last week, which they desperately needed after losing to the 49ers, really hurting the Dolphins draft pick. Rams, talking to you. And the Packers just barely losing to the Vikings. If it wasn't for Crosby missing some field goals, they probably would have won that game. I know a lot of Packer fans are probably mad at their kicker. I'm going Green Bay. My father's going with Green Bay. We just think, the quarterback for the Rams, and they struggled against the 49ers, and then they struggled against Tennessee. I just think that the Packers are the better team, and they're home, so I'm going with the Packers. So is my father, and the Packers are giving the Rams one, so it don't really matter in that aspect. So again, even with the spread, I'm going with Green Bay. Then we have the Minnesota Vikings, who just beat the Green Bay Packers, taking on those 49ers who beat up on a bad team in the Jacksonville Jaguars. I'm going with the Vikings. I think the Vikings are just a little bit better than the 49ers. Garoppolo was inconsistent. And I'm going with Minnesota in that one. So is, my father's going with 49ers. Again, if it's a close game and he has a hard time deciding which one he goes with the home team normally. And the Vikings are getting 3. So I'd still go with the Vikings in this one. I think they'll win by about 3. Then we have the Cleveland Browns, the Sunday night game. Cleveland Browns taking on those Baltimore Ravens. Lamar Jackson seems to be doing better. I'm hearing this past Monday that he's much better, feeling healthy. Again, Browns just barely beating the Lions, and the Ravens just barely beating the Bears. Both teams winning by 3. It's funny because those teams will be facing each other, the Bears, Lions, on Thanksgiving. I'm going with the Ravens. My father's also going with the Ravens, home team, and the Browns. Is just something going on with the Browns. That's why I'm going with the Ravens. And Cleveland's getting 3.5. Going with the Ravens, especially if Lamar's back. I think they win big. And then the Monday night game, Seattle. Did Russell Wilson rush himself back from that finger injury, taking on Washington, who Washington last week put up a decent fight, and won. Put up a decent fight and won. They won against Carolina 27-21. I'm going with Washington in this one. Something's going on with Seattle. Like I said, is it because Russell Wilson rushed back from the finger injury or what? Going with Washington, so is my father, and Washington's even getting 1, going from the West Coast to the East Coast. I'm still going with Washington. And then finally, the game that I'll be covering Sunday at 1 o'clock is Miami Dolphins hosting the Carolina Panthers, who just lost to the Washington football team 27-21. Cam Newton, he's probably going to be more comfortable with the offense, be more comfortable with the scheming. I'm not going to go too far into this. I got a preview coming out Friday about this game, but I'm not telling you I'm going with. You're going to have to watch the preview on Friday, but my father, like always, is going with the Finns. But be sure to comment below. Let me know what you guys think. Did you pick for or against? All that good stuff. And again, thank you to mybookie.ag for sponsoring this video. And let me get to comment of the day. And this comment comes from Helen R. Racing, and he says, comment of the day. Doug, I can't help that this is a lost season due to our early season performance. We should have won 2 or 3 of those games during our 7-game losing streak, with those wins being we'd be plus 500 and in the fight for the AFC wildcard spot. Now we have to be perfect for a chance to make the playoffs. Yes, and I talk about this a lot, and this is something I do when the season ends or when we're at some point in the season whether we're fighting for a wildcard spot or we're fighting for something. I always look back and I go, if they would adjust then. If they just would adjust. Because there is 3 games. There is 3 games that the Dolphins should have won. I don't care what anyone says. They should have won these 3 games. 1, Raiders game. If the ref had any eyes in his head, he would have called off defensive pass interference. Dolphins would have got the ball on the 1-yard line. In overtime, they would have scored the touchdown. We would have beat the Raiders. The other one, Jaguars game. If the defense would have just made another stop and didn't let the Jaguars march down the field to kick that field goal, we would have won that game. The Falcons game. Tua Tagovailoa throws 2 interceptions. One of them returns all the way to the red zone. The other one doesn't, but it still gives up 10-point swing. But he does come back, bounces back from the turnover. It gives us a lead 28-27 with 2 minutes left in the game. And the Dolphin defense craps the bed and lets Atlanta in 2 plays march 50 yards and gets in field goal range. If those 3 games, if the refs had eyes in their head and the defense made the stops we needed to, the Dolphins would have won those 3 games. And those 3 games sitting at 4-7 right now, we would be 7-4. Who is number 1 in the division and who has the number 3 overall spot in the playoffs? Not even a wild card, because you said chasing a wild card spot. Or we were with 7 games. With those wins, we'd be 500 plus and in a fight for it. No. We win those 3 games. And I'm not even talking about we beat Buffalo twice or we beat the Bucks. I'm talking, or even the Colts. I'm talking about 3 games that it was 1 play that swung the game in our way to lose. We'd be sitting at 7-4. We already beat the Patriots week 1, which means we'd be number 1 in the division and we'd have the number 3 spot in the playoffs, not fighting for a wild card spot. And the Bills would be 3rd place and out of the playoffs. That's where it would have been if the team wasn't so inconsistent. For that 7-game streak, it was a lot of inconsistencies, right? You look at the Bills games, both Bills games. Those losses were on the offense, 1,000% on the offense. Because the first game, they scored the 2 touchdowns, but the offense got in the red zone multiple times, couldn't score, and the defense held the Bills to no points for about 2 quarters, about a quarter and a half. Then the other Bills game, 3-3 at halftime, 3-3 in the middle of the 3rd quarter. We had so many opportunities to score, so many opportunities to take the lead, and we couldn't do it. So those 2 games were lost on the offense. Same thing with the Colts game. Lost on the offense. Jacoby Brissett, just hot garbage. Bills game, it was just the Bucs game was just a better team. We were getting torched on all aspects of it. So if we win those 3 games, it would flip it. And I don't like doing this because it's like, coulda, woulda, shoulda. I understand that. But if the team wasn't so inconsistent where the defense was doing great and the offense wasn't, and the offense and we'd be sitting 7-4 right now. Number 1 in the AFC East. Number 3, I think, in the playoff race. Home field advantage. But nope. 7-game losing streak, and now we're sitting at 4-7 with the possibility to be 500 by Monday Night Football and a possibility to fight for a wild card spot. Possibility. This week is another big test. Taking on those Carolina Panthers, because Cam Newton's no slouch. You saw how well he's playing now. He's back in Carolina. So, but yeah, to answer your question, or no, to respond to your statement, if they would have won those 3 games, they're not fighting for an AFC wildcard spot. They have the division right now because they beat New England already. Inconsistencies. Who is it to blame? To me, it's the coaching. That's who is to blame. Doug, but the offensive line is garbage. Yes. Who has control of the 53-man roster? Who has control over which players start and which players sit? Why is it that we cut players and they're doing better on other teams than they're doing here? It has to do with coaching. So I hope I answered your question. We're on a 3-game losing streak, and I'm talking about this, and it's a very lull. So let's bring it back up. 3-game winning streak. Take care of the Carolina Panthers at home. I hope I see a lot of you guys at this game. It's a big game. Continue the push to be at 5-7. Then we have the Giants and the Jets again. 1 game at a time. All of a sudden, you start hearing Dolphins in your ear. But other than that, guys, I will see you tomorrow. This is the 2nd video you're getting on Wednesday, earlier today, the film breakdown. Go check that out. But I'll see you guys tomorrow. I got a special Thanksgiving video for you guys, and then the preview on Friday. But other than that, guys, like usual, stay classy and fins up.